t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and more now available from the Rock Critic merch table. Be sure to check out the links below the video or check out the link in the description. Hell yes, I'm gonna whore out my merch shop because I am nothing if not a gigantic slut. Okay, let's knock out some Patreon requests, shall we? This has been long overdue for a little while now. Thanks for your patience here, guys. I appreciate it. Wait, though, didn't we already review this one? This one looks really familiar. They were that retro-y kind of 70s fuzz thing that kicked ass earlier in the year? Oh, no, that was Powerwolf. What's this? Powerwolf? How many fucking bands are named after wolves? Stop it! Y'all start coming up with something original or I'm just gonna start calling all of you Red Sting. Anyway, Powerwolf is a Swedish power metal band that's been doing a somewhat more symphonic brand of the genre. So, I guess one problem right out of the gate is that from the description alone, you can probably already hear what this band sounds like in your head, and I can more or less confirm that what you're hearing there isn't too different from what you'd be hearing here if you pick this up. So if big blaring organs and string work and straightforward chugging drums and guitar work aren't necessarily your thing, this probably won't be either, sad to say. Remember Battle Beast from last year? What did you think of them? Your general opinion here probably wouldn't stray too far from that, even though, yeah, they are attempting very different themes and feels with their music for sure. It's power metal, it's pretty straightforward and simply put. But like I mentioned, these guys are more keen to implement symphonic elements into their music. It does give everything much more of an epic, lofty, and pleasingly gothic feel to their sound. And I mean like classical gothic, not like Hot Topic gothic. Though the thing about their music that is a bit more Hot Topic goth is all the werewolves and shit. Man, I wish I were capable of putting out reviews in a timely fashion, because this would be a perfect Halloween album. Songs about demons and werewolves and vampire hunters, and it's all sold in a way that feels so grandiose and sweeping, while also remaining a total balls-out fun fiesta that doesn't take itself too seriously. Hell, in some cases, it's downright hilarious, like on Demons Are a Girl's Best Friend, a bouncy, upbeat little number full of church organs and slamming drum beats that's just straight up about fucking demons. Like, I'm not using fucking as an expletive here. It is literally about women having sex with demons. It has the line, "Protect the grail between your thighs." That is so damn goofy, and I love it. You see what I mean? My very first thought when listening to this album was, man, this would be the perfect soundtrack to slay Simon Belmont to. It's got hooks for days, lots of infectious and hummable choruses, and it's overall just oodles of gothic, scoopy, macabre fun. It is a very power metal sounding power metal album though. I mean, apart from the slightly heavier focus on the orchestral elements, there isn't necessarily a ton of other stuff separating them from similar groups of their genre. I mean, I'm just saying, if power metal isn't fairly definitively your thing, I doubt this will be an album that'll make you jump for joy or anything. And if you're not keen to this genre, I don't think this will be the one that changes your mind. But hell, if you're looking for just a straight up good as hell symphonic metal bop, yeah, this'll do the trick. Sacrament of Sin gets 4 dead Belmonts out of 5. Okay, Follow the Cipher. Can't say I've heard of them. Oh, that's because they're a brand spanking new project, and this is their debut. Okay, neat. What's their deal? They're a Swedish power metal band. Wow, you people really loved Battle Beast and were itching to hear more of that, weren't ya? That happens to be headed up by Ken Kangstrom, a former Sabaton contributor. See, that made my ears perk up a bit. I dig a fair amount of the Sabaton I've been exposed to over the years. And, again, like Battle Beast, this is another female-fronted act. Again, I'm always happy to hear something that helps break up the sausage fest that metal can sometimes become. So, how does this stack up? Honestly, I really liked it. I think I dug this even more than Powerwolf. I mean, especially for a debut, this album is beefy as hell. There's a much stronger emphasis on electronica and the slightest hint of industrial vibes here and there. The keyboards are loud, squelchy, and very prominent in the mix, especially on the opening handful of tracks. It almost feels like the album is playing an old NES game in the background, but it's one of the games that kicks ass, so you don't necessarily mind it. The drum work is absolutely slamming and intense. This album's hooky and infectious guitar licks really did plow their way under my skin. Lyrically, this is power metal that isn't quite as tongue-in-cheeky and self-aware as something like Powerwolf, but that isn't strikes against it or anything. It's still fun and wholeheartedly enjoyable. And Linda Toni Gran, damn, this girl has pipes for days. She is an absolute belter with an insanely high range and terrific flexibility. Her voice, along with the exceptional synth work here, really carry this album. Again, especially for a debut, this is really solid. I feel like this scratches my particular itch for power metal just a little bit better than Powerwolf does. Not to write them off by any means, please don't sleep on either of these albums. They both wreck, but given that this is a new act trying to make a name for themselves, and given that they clearly have the chops to justify their existence, I would absolutely love to hear more from this group in the future. Though god damn does this band need a better logo. Like, seriously? It looks like the old Van Halen logo retching into a toilet. Follow the Cipher gets 4.5 graphic designers out of 5. Seventh Wonder. They're a band that's been active since around 2000 and have made somewhat of a big splash with their big return album here, Tiara. This is their first new release in over 8 years, and apparently this album is really doing gangbusters on the prog circuits, at least critically. When I went to look up reviews, there were lots of 9s, 10s, and people throwing around phrases like near perfect a lot. So apparently this band is officially the hot ticket in the heavy prog scene right now. And I've never freaking heard of them. Oh god, I hate it when this happens, but I don't know, people, I can't be up to date on every single act out there, but I don't know, just know that I walk into this album as somewhat of a pleb, a noob. This is my first Seventh Wonder album, and the biggest question I was hoping to answer while listening to this was, will this album convince me that I should listen to more of these guys? And the answer? Sure, but only if I'm in the right mood. Like, be warned, I'm not about to give this album the sumptuous blowjobs it seems to be getting from a lot of other outlets, but, you know, I'll certainly give credit where it's due. Seventh Wonder really got ambitious with this one. It's full of shredding guitar harmonies, gorgeous and elegant symphonic breaks from the action, and a huge, sweeping, and crazy sci-fi concept that, while a bit tried and true for the genre, the music backing it up makes it sound and feel much more majestic and bombast and it is certainly good for what it is. But man, this album is what it is. I mean, like, if aliens landed and asked me to describe what modern heavy progressive metal was and the general kinds of sounds and moods it tried to evoke, I'd first say, wow, that's a very weird and specific reason to make first contact, but then I'd basically just point to this album and say pretty much that. It's, very representative of a genre, isn't it? Don't get me wrong, the playing and arrangements are great, but I just can't help but feel like I've heard other progressive albums that sound a lot like this one, especially lately, within the last 5 years or so. The arrangements are what you'd expect, the vocal performances are what you'd expect, the concept and story are what you'd expect, even the cover basically told me everything I needed to know about this album before I heard even one note of the music. Okay, we're in for a spacey, prog metallic shred fiesta with a heavy emphasis on narrative and lots of songs that breach past the 6-7 minute mark. And lo, it was made so. I didn't know I was psychic, but Seventh Wonder unlocked my gift. If you know a guy with a ponytail who works at a Guitar Center, this is probably his favorite album of the year. And you know, like I said up top, it's really good for what it is. I promise I'm not trying to knock it too hard. I do rather like it, but it just screams postmodern prog album to me, you know? Lots of stuff to like and appreciate, but this is not an album that throws you many curveballs, and I wouldn't say it's album of the year material on my list. If you have more of a predilection towards progressive metal, especially of this type, hell yeah, go for it. You'll probably go gaga over it. But it's not necessarily for me. Definitely give it a shot to see if it's up your alley. Tiara gets 3 Flash Gordons out of 5. Oh, Author and Punisher. Now here's an act I've been meaning to get around to for years. A one-man industrial thing hailing from San Diego. The Tristan Schoen Experience has been chugging along for quite some time now. In fact, one of the first promo albums I ever received back in the day was Milk and Honey, all the way back in 2015. I just never found the time to get around to it. Same goes with his last album, Pressure Mine. But with Beastland, somebody finally put up the dosh to have me look at it proper. I'm interested to hear what we've got our hands on here. What does this guy sound like? Whoa, okay, that was intense. Man, and I made allusions to Follow the Cipher being industrial. This is the kind of industrial that puts actual machinery to shame. This makes 9 Inch Nails look like goddamn delight. This is some spoopy shit, y'all. It's pitch black, eternally caustic, grating and shrieking and crying and grimy and just... oh, this is doom metal as constructed by the actual Doom Marine. On Wikipedia, to see what kind of instrumentation this guy was using to create his music, it actually says that he custom designed and fabricated instruments from raw materials and open source electronic circuitry. And you take one look at his live setup and you're like, wow, that actually makes perfect sense. He totally seems like the kind of guy who, if someone came up to him and asked, "Oh, you're a musician? What instrument do you play?" his reply would be, "The wretched abominations of my own blasphemous design."
We are 2 dark boys.
The music is black, insidious, and brutally intense. This is the hard drugs version of industrial. You want melody? You want fun? Go listen to 9 Inch Nails Broken, you fucking pussy. I'm here to give you hate. And, like, I sort of get the appeal there. I mean, good lord, if you are just into the darkest of dark music that isn't actually like burning churches or anything like that, this is exactly up your alley. It's different. It's not what a lot of people are doing in the scene, at least as closely as I follow it. And again, I'm a total pleb when it comes to industrial. Not many people are doing what Tristan Schoen is doing out there right now, but it feels like there's probably a reason for that. I did kind of enjoy my time with this, but I'm just saying, people, this is intense. Very intense music. I mean, the people fucking from the orgy scene in Eyes Wide Shut would tell this guy to chill the fuck out. And you know, there's certainly a market for music this dark, twisted, wicked, and hopelessly relentless. Hey, if it sounds like a thing you'd be into, it certainly scratches that itch really damn well. It is certainly unique. But to those of you who are like, "Oh, I like heavy stuff, I like the Papa Roach," take a chance on it if you're feeling bold. Just do not listen to this thing if you're in a bad mood, okay? Beastland gets 3.5 dark boys out of 5. So, Coheed, we meet again. To those of you that saw Rock Coliseum 3, First off, huge thank you for turning in. Seriously, we love doing that show, and we always appreciate the massive amounts of interaction and fun discussion you guys serve up. Seriously, thank you so much. That's always a blast. We love doing it for you. And keep your ear to the ground on Luke's channel to hear more about what'll be coming down the line. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But to those of you that saw the last Rock Coliseum, you've probably had this particular review already spoiled for you.
They are up their own ass! So buried up their own... I say this as a fan. People, they need help.
Let me try to break that down for you in less hysterical terms. See, after the whole Afterman series of albums finally concluded the Amory Wars saga, I personally breathed a gigantic sigh of relief. Good lord, the Amory Wars had gotten to the point where it was just a mess. By the end of it all, Claudio may as well have been singing in Esperanto for as much as I could understand what he was talking about. And when The Color Before the Sun dropped in 2015, I really ended up enjoying that album. Hell, it made my album of the year list that year. Good God, it was nice to be able to make an actual connection to a Coheed Cambria album, wasn't it? Like, it was great. I was really looking forward to this new, intelligible version of the band and seeing how they could develop now that Claudio wasn't buried 40 feet into his own... What the hell do you mean the Amory Wars are back? Oh God, why? Why, God, why? God, why? This is what always makes Coheed a difficult band to discuss nowadays. Back in the day, the whole Amory Wars concept was goofy and cute. Hey, nobody else in the emo, screamo-ish scene was doing this kind of thing. It was novel at first, but the longer it dragged on, and the more shriekingly impenetrable the narrative got, the more of a colossal pain in the ass it all became. And now it's back. And oh God, it's more impenetrable, trite, and fucking stupid than it ever was. Hey, hardcore fanboys, save me your novella-long screeds on Valorium campers and Heaven's Fences and writing riders inflicting the crowing upon sacred Kilgore until the bicycle shall make my head explode. Save it, stuff it, I don't give a shit. Claudio is a terrible fucking fiction writer, and I refuse to waste any more precious brain juice trying to figure out what the hell he's going on about. If I need an entire warehouse full of comics and a Wikipedia entry the size of Mount Goddamn Fuji to be able to keep up with your story fucking sucks. And yeah, the narrative here sucks too. Fuck the goddamn Amory Wars. I'm not spending a lot of time talking about the music on this album, am I? Well, I don't have to. Most of it is about what you'd expect. It's fine, you know. It's fine. It's what you'd hope to hear on any Coheed album. Dark Sentencer, Love Protocol, The Pavilion. It has songs on it that have their moments, sure. On a pure sonic level, it's okay. It's what I'd expect. It's fine. It sure as hell doesn't sound like the interesting and unique pop-flavored stuff we got from Color Before the Sun, which I was really liking and hoping they would develop on and grow upon from there. It was an excellent starting point that they totally could have built off of and been really cool, but it's fine. Whatever. It's, you know, it's what you'd expect. It's fine. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, though, because at this point, the Lovecraftian beast of esoteric tentacles that has become Coheed's lyrical style is now officially actively turning me off to the music. With every attempt I make to connect to this album on some level other than, hey, the guitar hooks are alright, I get greeted by more and more middle fingers from Claudio and his ever-swelling cast of shitty, meaningless characters. The lyrical bullshit all started as a weird little thing you just kind of dealt with as a Coheed fan. Then as they went on, it became a small annoyance. Then that morphed into a large frustration, and then that morphed into a big problem, and at this point, I'm only just now realizing that I've been chained to the wall this entire time in a weird fucked up Cask of Amontillado situation. Only the bricks are meaningless minutia, retcons, and side characters, and the mortar is bullshit. And this goddamn thing's gonna be a 5-part series? What the fucking hell? There's gonna be 4 more albums like this? Nope. I'm done. I tap, ref. That's me tapping. I tap. I don't care. I do not care anymore. I just do not care. My buddy Mark, Spectrum Pulse, basically put it best during Rock Coliseum.
Coheed Cambria are the Styx of modern progressive metal. They make, they got the very...
And yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, dude. Claudio has basically become our generation's version of Dennis DeYoung, and this band desperately needs a Tommy Shaw to speak up and say...
Just kind of came up empty. I just couldn't think of songs about robots.
Vaxis, Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures, good God, these titles. Get 2.5 very sad-looking Tommy Shaws out of 5. Myles Kennedy, I didn't know he was putting out a solo album this year. Man, Myles has been having a really good handful of years, hasn't he? The last Alter Bridge record was slammin', his last album with Slash and the Conspirators was really solid, and now he's released his first solo record. Wasn't sure what to expect here. Kennedy's projects always seem to have a vastly different sound and style from one another. What's Homeboy capable of when he's just basically on his own? The answer to that seems to be some of the best damn acoustic folk and Americana produced this side of the decade. Damn, I figured I'd enjoy this, because I generally like a lot of Kennedy's other work. I was not expecting to be blown away as much as I was by this record. Man, this is legit. Kennedy's created a haunting, earnest, and powerful collection of songs here that deal with loss, pain, and the issues of faith in a compelling and sonically blissful manner. This album has a strong focus on Kennedy's acoustic guitar skills, as the good old 6-string tends to have the most dominant focus in the mix of most tracks. But by no means is this strictly an acoustic album, though. Lots of terrific uses of banjo, lap guitars, and mandolins help create a rustic and old-fashioned feel to the music. It's an album that lyrically deals with times gone past, and the music does an exquisite job of evoking a sense of remembrance and faded memories. It's probably the closest thing to a country album that I could get away with reviewing on this channel. Except for that one time, and I absolutely love how well it's done here. This is brilliant and somber and wistful and gorgeous and... Damn, guys, you know how I usually feel about country music on this channel. I've made no secrets about that, so for me to be heaping such high praise on something like this really should speak volumes as to how good it is. It's legit, and Kennedy's lyrics are exquisite, probably the best I've ever heard from the man. This is a very personal album for the guy, and you can tell he's working through some demons on this one. This album is somewhat of a concept record, centered around the death of his father and how it affected his relationships to his family, his former beliefs, and to the world around him. And Kennedy does not hold back with his honesty. He lays his pain, his confusion, his suffering out naked and full as he wrestles with his own doubt, confusion, and anger over having to lose one of the most important people in his life. It's gripping, sad, mournful, and it's so good it honestly makes me feel bad about that joke I made about him being Yelpy earlier in the year. I remember that. I'm sorry, dude, I was being an asshole. But like I've mentioned, up until this album, it's been a little hard to get a full gauge on Kennedy's talents, given that he's always been working with other artists to help them realize their respective visions. I guess that's part of the reason why so many of his projects sound so vastly different. But here, when he's finally allowed to do something that's entirely, completely his own thing, we really really get to see just how talented this man is, and we finally get our first full, complete glimpse of what he's truly capable of. I'm not saying I want Alter Bridge to break up or anything, chill, but good lord, if you've never really been sold on anything else Kennedy has done over the years, I say check this out. This may finally be the project that sells you on just how crazy good of a musician and songwriter he is. Like, damn, dude. Year of the Tiger gets 5 devils on the wall out of 5.
Super special thanks to Tyler A. Ram and Jack Browntown.
Close the door to the